My score was not very good. I didn't know much about masters and all. It was kind of given in a haste. Will not apply to US at all. We'll just apply to Canada. It's like cheaper to study as well. Throughout your 16-month long program, you'll already have like 8 months of full-time Canadian work experience.
Yeah.
Pretty much every university required around 3 LORs, values your academics a lot. So unless you, even if you are from a really good university or college in India, but if your academics are not, let's say 9+ in terms of CGPA, then you have your chances of getting into this program are like slim. They had a video call with me, I think a 1 hour long video call where they asked about my projects and just got to know me and like why I'm interested in this specific program. So that was kind of like the final round. U of T is like the most expensive university in Canada. Universities here in Canada, when they have co-op, they are 4 months in duration. So if you have 2 terms of doing co-op, you can do 4 months at one company and 4 months at another company. Toronto is considered as the AI hub of the world.
Hi everyone. Today we have Abdur Rahman from University of Toronto with us today. Hi Abdur. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey Anshika, thanks a lot for having me here. So as Anshika already said, I am Abdur and I'm a CSE student at University of Toronto. At the moment, along with my studies, I'm also doing like a part-time work as a DevOps intern. And before that, I have about 1 year of experience working as a backend engineer back in India.
Okay.
I think, yeah, that's like pretty much like a short intro about me.
Sure. We'll go into the details soon.
Sure.
So talking about your background, can you share your academic profile, the scores you had, and what undergrad you did, and how you came to the university here?
Sure. So like from the moment I went for undergrad, I mean, at that very instance, I didn't know much about masters and all.
From
But
which
after
university
spending-
did you do your undergrad, and what?
It was, yeah, sure. So it was National Institute of Technology, Trichy, NIT Trichy, and my stream was Electronics and Communication Engineering. So not exactly computer science,
Same
but
here.
close to it.
Even I
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So like from the moment I went there and like spent a year, I was kind of exposed to this whole world of MS because seniors there used to go for MS in US predominantly. So I kind of got some idea from them, and so I did start doing my own research and found out, okay, so these are the options. I have US, I have Europe, I have Canada, and so on. So yeah.
Okay. And what was your GPA, if I can ask, on undergrad?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so my GPA was around, I think, 9.4 or 9.45, something close to that at the end. But yeah, it doesn't matter anymore now. But yeah, at the time of applying, definitely it will matter.
Yes, that was the weightage factor you have when you apply to universities. Did you
Yes.
give your TOEFL or what the other exam that we have that is accepted in IELTS, right?
Yeah, IELTS.
And then did you give a GRE?
Yeah, so I did give a GRE back in my 3rd year in college. So that's when I tried to find out some time and do it. It was kind of given in a haste. It was more of a trial thing. Like I thought I'll give it one more time. So I didn't take much time to prepare. So my score was not very good. It was around 314 and in GRE, by the way. But I never gave a second attempt of GRE. So I just used that score itself.
314 is not a bad score for sure.
Okay. So and then yeah, as far as TOEFL is concerned, that is the one I gave. I didn't write IELTS, by the way, so I just wrote TOEFL, and I think my score in that was around 109 out of 120. So yeah, if you want to split, I think it was around 20. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, you were talking about applying to universities in the US, Canada, Europe. So how did you shortlist these universities, and what all universities you applied to?
Sure. So like when I started out, I started looking into US universities because that was sort of like the norm back in my university or college in India. So that's where I started looking. But then I came across this whole concept of H1B and then work permit and what are the associated
and the
complications and all that. So I kind of made my mind, like it was not just me, but like a group of students, like in my batch itself. So we all made our minds that we'll not apply to US at all. We'll just apply to Canada. because
Great
of the,
decision, by the way.
thanks. Because of the whole decision, because of the whole safety after,
Yeah.
pursuing your MS thingy.
Yeah.
So,
The
that's
future
how
is
I
more
made it.
secure in Canada, I guess.
Yeah, so even it's like cheaper to study as well. And so I think I applied to around 8 universities.
Mhm.
And all universities, like no colleges as such. So I applied to U of T. And by the way, these are 8 programs, not exactly 8 universities. The universities are just 5 in total. So I
Okay.
applied to University of Toronto. I applied to University of Waterloo. I applied to Simon Fraser University. I applied to University of Victoria and University of Ottawa. So these were the
So you might have
universities.
divided them into ambitious and moderate and doable.
Right.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
was your
So
ambitious university? Was University of Toronto the ambitious one?
so like for me, there were 2 ambitious programs in total. So in total, I applied to 8 programs. So like I applied to 3 different programs in University of Waterloo and 2 programs in University of, Simon Fraser University. So U of T MSCAC was like my top priority, like ambitious, definitely. And then University of Waterloo, Master of Data Science and Analytics, I think, or Master of Data Science and AI. So it's called as MDSAI in general. So that was again in my ambitious list. Then University of Ottawa, Simon Fraser University, I think they were kind of like moderate, and then University of Victoria was sort of like the safe one.
Okay. So about your program in applied computing, why did you choose this over computer science or data science that you were looking at? What is different about this program and what makes it special?
To be honest, it's about the way this program is split up. Apart from like, if I just remove this whole, so yeah, if you just forget about the whole U of T ranking and all of that, the major benefit of, or the major advantage of pursuing an MSc in applied computing here was that the way this program is split is it's like you have 8 months of coursework followed by 8 months of applied research internship. So it's like throughout your 16-month long program, you'll already have like 8 months of full-time Canadian work experience, which is great. And it's like, if you know about how a program is supposed to be in Canada in order to qualify for a 3-year post-graduation work permit, is that it must be 16 months long in duration, and it should have at least 50% as the number of the number of days should be at least 50% where you have classes. So it's like 50% study term, right? 8 months, and then 8 months followed by of research internship.
How many courses do you have? Like you just have 8 months, as you told, of education, that you study courses in the 8 months only, right?
I was talking about the program split of 8 months of coursework followed by 8 months of applied research internship, which kind of means 8 months of full-time work experience in a 16-month long program. And when you factor in the ranking of University of Toronto and its alumni network, so it was like a no-brainer for me to choose this over the other options.
For sure. So talking about the 8 months of coursework that you have, how many courses do you cover in those 8 months? Are you divided in a semester? Like, is it 2 semesters, or how many courses you have to complete overall?
Yeah, so those 8 months actually mean 2 terms here and 2 4-month long terms, and I have to take a minimum of 4 courses in those 8 months. So I can have like 2-2, or I can have 1-3 or 3-1 that way. So I just chose this 2 and 2.
Okay, just 4 courses you have to do, and then
That's
you have full 8 months for your internship.
Internship, yes.
Or full-time experience, as you call it.
Yep. So that was like a really...
After those 8 months of work that you have, you can just go and apply to full-time. Like even those get converted into full-time for sure, right?
As in, like, do they count as full-time experience?
No. I know they would be counting towards your degree as well, because you are related to the university at that time. But then after those 8 months, is there a high probability of where you worked as an intern, they converted into full-times?
Oh, okay. You mean like return offers? Yeah, there is. Okay. So depending upon the financial situation of the company as well as the market and everything, usually like most of the students, they get return offers, and a handful of those who don't get, they just apply. So to find a new full-time job.
Got
That's
it.
all.
So going back to the colleges you applied to, so I want to know more about the application process you followed, the SOPs, LORs. Did you submit the GRE score in all universities, or was it optional? Because I remember during COVID, we had this optional, if you want to give GRE, it's fine. If you don't want to give it, it's still fine. So what factors added to your application being selected? I mean, it's a black box, but what do you think you did to
Okay.
your application?
Okay. So like a lot of it happened like I think 2 years back, so I might not be like completely clear on those points. But then, yeah, I think uh, pretty much every university required around 3 LORs, one SOP to be submitted. The word lengths were like varying, obviously. So U Waterloo usually has around 500 words as the limit, but U of T didn't have anything, so I wrote like a 2-page SOP. Apart from that, I did submit GRE scores, but not to every university. I think only the ambitious or the top 2 or 3 universities in my list were the ones where I submitted my GRE score. And TOEFL, like I submitted to everyone. And apart from that, like I think the main, it again depends upon the university, like what they value more, whether it's the GRE score or your academics and things like that. As far as I think, U of T, or at least my program in U of T, values your academics a lot. So even if you are from a really good university or college in India, but if your academics are not, let's say 9+ in terms of CGPA, then you have your chances of getting into this program are like slim. So that's usually the thing, apart from the research and everything. But I think here they kind of, at least in my program, they kind of, understand that we'll still have like not full or deep, thorough knowledge of the subjects we're trying to pursue. We're still learning them. But as long as our academics, as long as our academics are
will and the thing needed to complete a even though it's different.
Yes. So it's like, as long as we have our academics sorted and we have the perseverance to like move forward, they just accept based on that. And some universities also have, in my list, only one of them, which is U of T, had a interview round. I don't think maybe this year they might have changed this, but at least when I applied, that was the norm. So they had a video call with me, I think a 1 hour long video call, where they asked about my projects and just got to know me and like why I'm interested in this specific program. So that was kind of like the final round.
Okay, got it. So after they shortlist a pool of students and then they set one-on-one interviews with all the shortlisted students.
Yes.
Got it. So was the interview more like we go for like the internship and the full-time job interviews, or was it more informal, like 1 hour long interviews, like a good amount of time to know the other person?
It was informal actually. So it was by Claire. I think like most of the people here in MSCSC like know Claire, so she manages the whole program and all that. So she just like asked me about what my interests are, my background, what courses I'll be taking if I get into this program, how will it help me, why am I choosing U of T, things like this. So it's more of like HR round.
And more of the university well to like have an admit in it, because you might have checked the website really well if you know what subjects you want to pick, how the course goes.
Yeah, whether or not I did my homework, basically.
Yeah, correct. So in the current university that you're studying in, what is your fee? You said that it's cheaper compared to the US. So I just want to know the expenses you incur, probably the fee and then the monthly expense that you have.
Sure. So actually, U of T is like the most expensive university in Canada, as far as I know, at least the program that I'm pursuing. So this is around, costs around 65,000 Canadian dollars for the whole 16-month duration. If you go to other universities, they're like cheaper than this, but this is like definitely worth it, because the pay that we get in the 8-month-long internship is actually more than the fee itself. So so it's like a good choice. And apart from that, the like expenses, living expenses here, because the university is in Toronto, which is kind of expensive. So the rent will be a bit on the higher side, but if you are okay sharing room, like I am right now, I have a roommate. So then the rent comes out to around 600 max. It's under 600 for me, but yeah, almost 600 you can think of it.
Got it.
And then yeah, apart from that, if you just take up the whole thing, like transportation, food, rent, and everything, for me it comes out to be around 900 Canadian dollars for a month.
Per month. Got it.
But if your university is in, like, it's not in Toronto, it's outside, let's say in Waterloo, then it's going to be even cheaper, maybe 650, 700
Toronto is a
for the
big
whole thing. Yeah.
Makes sense to have more expensive and sharing rooms. So
Right.
did you work any part-times while you were doing the course before you do the internship?
Yes. So I'm still in my second term of the study period. So yeah, and technically, like, throughout the study term, I have been doing a part-time work as a DevOps intern at 16-bit, which is a medtech startup based in Toronto. So I kind of, take care of their deployments and building their backend infrastructure and making it scalable and things like that. So yeah, so like my part-time is not much of a Walmart type, where you get your job or things like that.
Work than doing
technical role.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can work off campus while you study in Canada?
Yeah, so in Canada, there's no such rule. I know in US, it's like while you're a student, you have to work on campus.
Yeah. So how much does your internship pay? How much of it are you able to, like, your monthly expenses, are you able to pay them with the internship, with the job part-time you're doing?
Yeah, it's actually like much more than what I spend. So it's like more than twice that amount again. So it's pretty easy for me to pay it off. Apart from that, like in Canada, we usually have a GIC thing as well, guaranteed investment certificate. So it's like when we are in our home countries, we deposit around $10,000, 10,000 Canadian dollars in a Canadian bank account. And then when we come here, then over a period of 12 months, we keep getting a portion of it. So in the first month, we get like $2,000 because we have to set everything up. And then from the next month onwards, we get around $730 just to ensure that, like, we don't die of hunger or like we're not homeless, things like that. So
that's
even have that.
So it is started by the government, or it is like the university does it for you?
No, it's a government-based thing.
Okay, that's great. So talking about the internship you have and what future prospects you see in this program. So what are there some hotspots in Canada where you get the tech roles, or like Toronto, I know, is a big city, so you'd have a lot of tech companies. But other than that, are there any other states you apply to? And what specific roles are you looking at when you look for your full-time or your internships?
So there's one thing, like most of the students here in MSc are more inclined towards AI and machine learning. So I was into AI machine learning at once, like mostly when I just came out of college and when I was in college. But then after working for a year as a backend engineer, I kind of got into more of a backend infrastructure and things like that. So my interest kind of shifted from there to more of cloud and things like that. So for me, like my choice were to apply in like companies for basically like for projects that are more into these areas rather than ML. So I had not many projects like that in the internship. I mean, I didn't have many options basically, but then because of the part-time work that I was doing, I got an offer to work as a research intern for like those full-time 8 months from the company that I'm doing part-time again. So it was kind of like a natural extension.
On the offer.
Thanks.
So you'll be working 8 months, complete 8 months with one company. Can we divide the 8 months into working with different companies and gaining experiences at different firms?
I don't think, no, it's not like, so there's a, like in MSc there are some strict requirements. So usually what happens is, usually other universities here in Canada, when they have co-op, they are 4 months in duration. So if you have 2 terms of doing co-op, you can do 4 months at one company and 4 months at another company. But as far as MSc is concerned, this internship cannot be just any internship. You can't just go and get a SD role or something like that. It has to have some sort of research component in it. Okay. So in my case, it's that we have to basically convert this pipeline into a more scalable version. So we need to find out, how we can do it and things like that. Okay. But if it was just like develop a web UI, then we can't have that because it's
Something
not technical
specific to
enough.
the degree that you're pursuing. Some
Yes.
element needs to be there.
Yes, so that is the thing. And as far as the job market is concerned, the market in Toronto at least is really good. So I don't think I should be having any problems later because it's like cloud and things like these like cloud infrastructure, microservices and all. This is kind of like the hot topic at the moment. Every company is trying to migrate from on-premises to cloud. So I think in terms of that, or even if you are in AIML, again, if you know, like Toronto is considered as the AI hub of the world. So you have a lot of AI opportunities in the city.
That's great to know. So for your internship, I just want to know the timeline of application. Like you start when you come here, you have the coursework to complete, and you also have to look for the internship that you do for the next 8 months. So what is the timeline, and does the college help in getting you one internship, or it's on your own that you do?
The thing is, MSCAC is very helpful when it comes to getting their students internship. So they have a separate team called as RDBO, as far as I know. So they basically go out and they look for companies that can be hiring in these specific domains, and then they bring them. So it's like everything is mediated by the MSCAC program. So they have like a portal where the companies come and they apply for their projects. They say we'll be hiring, let's say, 3 person for this, or 3 students for this project, 2 students for this project, and so on. Mm-hmm. So we have a list. So usually the number of projects outnumber the number of students. Oh, so we have more projects than the number itself. That's usually the thing. But in my case, as I said, my internship came from outside, so I didn't go through the MSCAC route as such. I found it on my own. So you have that option as well. If you want to find your own internship, you just have to get it verified by the MSCAC team. They need to ensure that it's technical enough, it's challenging enough, and so on. But as far as the help is concerned, MSCAC is super helpful. Like throughout the last 4-5 months, actually 5.5 months, they have been preparing us for the interviews. They have been reviewing our resumes, things like that. So they have been having full support throughout.
That's a great help that you have. So does the location make a difference? You said that the number of projects at your place have outnumbered the people studying. So is it only in Toronto that this is the case, and in other places of Canada?
So when I say the number of projects outnumber the number of students, I talk about, as you can think of it as sort of like a career fair. So basically, U of T's MSCAC team, they go out and they search for these companies and their projects, and they bring them together. And then we have
Toronto. Do they their options are just limited to Toronto or the whole of Canada?
No, it's not just Toronto or Canada. It's limited. It's not limited at all. Even there are companies like Adobe that come here. They post their students in New York.
Okay.
So if you secure an internship with them, you'll be sent to New York and you'll be working there.
That's great.
So it's not limited at all. Even ICICI Bank is there. What do you think?
Okay, so that's great. I mean, having their help to secure an internship on your own is really good, because this will ensure that each person has one internship at least, so that
everyone gets.
Everyone has an internship for sure. That's great. So talking about the visa you have, and how many years are you permitted to work in Canada or any other country while you're on this visa, and how fast do you get a citizenship in the Canada?
Sure. So talking about the immigration and things like that. So first of all, let's talk about the visa. So right now I am on SW1 visa. Usually, if your program has, by program I mean if your MS program or any graduate program that you're pursuing, if it has a mandatory work component, for me, I have an 8 months of research thing, applied research internship that I have, which is full time. So I need to have a work permit to be able to work full time. Okay. So that is why I have SW1, where W stands for work permit. But if you don't have that, you'll just have S1, the standard student visa. Apart from that, if your program is at least 16 months in duration, then you'll be eligible to apply for a 3-year postgraduate work permit. But if it's less than that, then you'll only get 1 year of post-graduation work permit.
Okay.
So since my program is 16 months, I'll get a 3-year PGWP, where after working for like 1 year on that PGWP, I'll be eligible to apply for a permanent residence card here, PR card.
Okay.
And once you have a PR card, through express entry, obviously, like once you have the PR card, then after 3 years of being a permanent resident, you can apply for the citizenship and you can have a Canadian passport.
Okay. So I think
this is usually the timeline.
Yeah, and the path seems very straightforward and easy.
Yeah, over here in Canada, at least it's very like easy. In US, I know it's not, but
yeah, it's a headache here. So thank you for that. And I want to know about some experiences you had at University of Toronto. You said the career fairs are helpful. You have a lot of them. But other than that, as an Indian student in Canada, what things did you experience? Some good experiences and some bad experiences that you've had there?
Okay, so as far as like my experiences are concerned, I know based on like reading Reddit threads and all, like I know that U of T is kind of harsh in terms of undergraduate. Like if you're an undergraduate student, you'll have a lot of course workload. But for me, it's not been that way. I've been choosing courses that are not that intensive in terms of the coursework, because I also like to learn things on my own on the side, on the internet or through courses online. So yeah, as far as you like, if you choose courses well, then it's going to be easy.
Then it's going to be.
And yeah, and there are some things like over here, I feel that the assignments are more practical, at least in the courses that I have taken. So I took one data science and analytics course last term, and in that, like we had assignments where we had to like write code completely. There was no like you do some research, something like analyze the tweets of Ukraine and Russia, and then figure out what the sentiments are towards Ukraine and Russia and how they have been evolving over time, and then write a 4-page report on that. Like once you have that, you do all the thing, like the coding and all that. So the assignments here they're intensive. It's not like the assignments back in India where one person will just do it and the rest will copy it down.
For sure, copying is the worst thing to do when you come abroad.
Yeah, exactly. And that again depends upon the course. So this course was handled by a professor who was working at IBM as a data analyst. So he was like an adjunct faculty, not exactly like a professor. So yeah, he didn't care much about plagiarism, but still, like, because his assignments were like super interesting and intensive. So so it takes time to do assignments here. So that's again like a good thing. Like as long as you do your assignments, those assignments are going to be super intensive. So you'll have to learn online, and then you'll have to apply whatever you got. So just by doing the assignments itself, you'll be able to like complete most of your knowledge or whatever you need to acquire. And apart from that, so some like weird things that I saw, at least like things that like put me off, are students eat a lot in class. Like they just open their lunch boxes and start eating. Not even
never used
fast
to do
food.
that in India.
So that was kind of like a culture shock for me. Like, how is that even fine? And like people don't address professors by sir or anything. They just call out their name, interrupt them whenever they have a question. So that's kind of like a weird thing. Nothing bad as such. People did say that like Toronto's weather or Canada's weather in general is going to be very harsh, but I didn't feel it that way. I mean, I was pretty like I had made up my mind that it's going to be really bad and I'm going to be screwed and all that, but luckily it was not so far.
So now what is the minimum temperature that went like it snow at the moment?
It did snow, yes, the day before yesterday, and the temperature is still in negative. I think it's around -2, -1 at the moment. Not that bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. So there are like only a handful of days where it goes to like below -10, maybe like for 1 or 2 days, and then it will come back up.
Yeah. So talking about your experience at University of Toronto, I wanted to know more about the social life you have. Is there any Indian community, or how do you celebrate Indian functions, or it's just that you celebrate?
Yeah. So like my class strength is around like 60% Chinese, 25 to 30% Indians. And then I think, like 10% of Canadians and other nationalities. But yeah, like, so we do have like an Indian community as such. We have like a WhatsApp group where we just, whenever we have, let's say, Diwali or anything, we just, get together. So it's like, usually like it's in my place because we have a house, not a condo apartment or anything. So like we have plenty of space here, we have plenty of chairs. So everyone just gathers here, they bring their food, they cook food, they bring here, and then we celebrate. Apart from that, yeah, like anytime we have birthdays and all, we just go out to an Indian restaurant and have Indian food. So yeah, like
Are there
as far
options
as
in restaurants there? Well,
yeah, like plenty. If you go to, I'm not sure like if you have heard of the city called Brampton. So it's a city here in Canada. Like it's close to Toronto, by the way.
okay.
So it's basically called as mini Punjab, and like I've not been there myself, but like my roommates have been, and so they said that once you go there, you'll basically feel like you're in Punjab. Like you'll have all of these like Punjabi restaurants,
So the
parathas, things
stereotype
like
is
that.
correct for Canada having a lot of Punjabis and
Yeah, that is true. Um, so there are a lot of like Indians over here. Like wherever you go, you'll find Indian food, Indian restaurants, things like that. You don't have to worry about things like that, and there's no like racism as such. Like at least based on like what I have felt here, I have never faced any issues so far. And I've even asked like other students who have been here for like 6, 7 years, even they didn't face anything like that.
That's great. And also about having some social events organized by the university. Do they have a lot of events going on for like graduate students? I know these colleges are high on undergrad students and they do a lot of events for them. But for grad students, do you have anything that goes on so that you keep connected to your class and the people?
Yeah, so like every week there is something or the other happening at university. We have information sessions, we have things like fun activities and all. Like not many people go for them, at least from the circle that I know. But yeah, like there are options like that. We even have like free food from university on one of the days. So like if you're like finding it hard to meet the ends, then you can go and have some like food from there, things like that. And so yeah, like in terms of the engagement and how the university is trying to like ensure that everyone feels welcomed, it's like definitely I would say that I would give it a 10 out of 10 in that sector.
That's great. So, would you like to add anything on your own, some peculiar experience or something else that we didn't cover in the video?
So I think like this video is going to be like intended towards students who are planning to apply to Canada or U of T in general. So the like most important thing I would say would be to like keep your academics solid. Don't let it slip, because that's going to define where you'll end up at the end. So try to keep it up, like and apart from that, don't just think that academics is the only thing. You need to build skills and things on your own. So get into the habit of like trying to learn things when you are free. It could be anything, whatever you like.
That's some great advice for the students looking forward to come to your university or even Canada.
Yeah. And apart from that, like if you have any doubts, difficulties or anything, I do have a YouTube channel. It's by the name Passive, so you can just come and check it out. I have videos regarding applying to the MSc program, how to go about the whole process of visa and university application. So you can check that out as well.
Sure. Thank you so much, Abdul. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It was a pleasure.